Welcome to the Bucs Gambling Show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 2 Vegas spread picks. I'm glad football is back. We were 2-2 on money picks last week, and with all the craziness, all the variants we saw in week 1, I was glad to hold serve, but I'm really excited for this week. Let's get into it. Slam the like button. First game, Thursday Night Football. We got the Washington no-names at the Green Bay Packers. Commanders plus 3.5. I got the Commanders to cover, Packers to win. I don't want to skip over this because I will be doing a separate video tomorrow, but I think this game is too close to call. I think the Packers win it late with a field goal. Commanders to cover, Packers to win. I'll have more analysis and props on the video tomorrow. I'll get it up early. Next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers -3. Money. Steelers winning the cover. Yesterday, I put it up on Patreon. When I saw the Steelers -2.5, I was very excited about it. Am I the biggest fan of what the Steelers are building? No, I don't like the way they construct their roster. I am a little bit skeptical of Aaron Rodgers, but I think this is a great spot for the Steelers. And this will be a close game. This will not be a game for the faint of hearts. I think it's going to be extremely ugly. And I think the Seahawks are going to have serious issues with the Steelers' defensive line. Listen, I know the Steelers' defense struggled against the Jets, but I don't expect that to happen again. And last week, I was telling you guys all off season, this Seahawks team is massively overrated. Let's start at quarterback. Sam Darnold needs everything perfect around him. And yes, you have 2 good receivers, although I don't believe in Cooper Kupp anymore. You have 2 good receivers, but outside of that, what does Seattle have? I keep getting billed. I keep getting people hyping up this running game, and I'm not seeing it. But the most important issue in this game, the most important issue against the San Francisco 49ers was this offensive line, specifically the interior. I'm not sure they're going to hold up against the Steelers, and that's going to be a tough out. The Seahawks defense was absolutely brilliant against the 49ers. Purdy played well, but they were able to force turnovers. But if you look at that game against the 49ers, Seahawks were on the back foot the whole game. Sam Darnold barely did anything. Purdy turned it over. 49ers couldn't kick a field goal to save their life, to be honest. And I'm not pounding my chest for what I posted on Patreon. But let's be honest, the 49ers should have won that game by 14, 17, 20 points. Take your pick of the litter. Now, I know the Steelers are no crown jewel themselves. I mean, we know the Steelers struggle up front at offensive line, although I do think they made it better this year, and Seattle's front was really good against the 49ers, but I think the Steelers will have enough of a running game to help Aaron Rodgers. And one player that impressed me on the Steelers offense was Calvin Austin. I think he's an X factor in this game. I think he does just enough. And last reason why this is a big money pick from me. When you think about home field advantages, people love talking about Seattle last week. We heard that. I don't think that's a big home field advantage. But one home field advantage that is huge and critical is Heinz Field. And a big reason is because it's a very hard stadium to field goal kick in. And that's going to make a big difference in this game when you have 2 marginal offenses. I'm not buying the 40 points from Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and nor should you. But you want to know what I am buying? Chris Boswell making long field goals and winning an ugly game. Steelers winning the cover. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Jacksonville Jags at the Cincinnati Bengals. Jags plus 3.5. You think I'm going to go with the Jags, right? I mean, they were great for us last week. But I got the Bengals minus 3.5 to win in the cover. And listen, I was impressed with what I saw out of Liam Cohen. I liked the run game. We saw Etienne come alive for the first time in 2.5 years. And Lawrence looked comfortable, and he had time to throw. And we know this is a Bengals defense that will leave you in rhythm, and they have problems specifically in the secondary. But I'm not sure this Jags pass rush can get enough pressure on Burrow. A big part of Cincinnati struggling against the Browns was the push from the Browns' defensive line. I think Cincinnati's going to be able to do with that just enough. And I'm not sure Trevor Lawrence is going to be bouncing points off the board. Like, I see like a 27-21 game, and that's what I think with the Bengals. Now, can you bet the Bengals at this point in time? No. Do you want to bet the Bengals early in the season? Absolutely not. But that performance wasn't all that bad against the Browns, although on offense it was concerning because Burrow was sacked and Burrow was hit often. We knew the Bengals offensive line would struggle going into the year. That's why you can't pull the trigger and bet this. Give me the Bengals minus 3.5, winning the cover. I just wonder how the Jags travel on the road. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, at the New York Jets. Bills minus 6.5. I'm going the Jets to cover, Bills to win. There absolutely is no science. That Jets defense was absolutely horrendous against the Steelers on Sunday. There's no other words for it. But I think a lot of that had to do just with mental errors. They were losing people on play action. They looked out of position when Rodgers would audible. I think Aaron Glenn will correct that, and I think this will be your normal tight division game. No, I'm sure everyone's running to bet the Bills. And people don't mind laying points to the Bills, and I understand why. You have Josh Allen, you have a top 5 offense, but this Bills defense has its issues. And one thing the Jets proved they can do last week, and I believe they'll do it again, is they can run the ball. I feel like this Bills defense is bottom 5 in the league right now, and Josh Allen covers up a lot of the Bills' blemishes. I'll take that Ravens L. I'm fine with it. But that was mostly Josh Allen in a team game. And I know that makes me sound like an NBA fan, but let's be real. Josh Allen doesn't have as much help as people think, and it's more about Josh Allen than the Bills, than his supporting cast. So I think the Jets are able to run the ball. Justin Fields will run that read option and keep the Bills front 7 off balance. The Jets do enough to cover, but the Bills win the game. I want no part of this game. I don't want to bet it. But also, people need to remember, you can spit out the data. You can spit out the math. Laying 6 in this league, especially when you're on the road, is no easy feat. Normally, the team plus 6 covers. Just throwing that out there. Jets cover, Bills win. Next game, we got the Chicago Bears, the Bears, at the Detroit Lions. Bears plus 5. I got the Bears to cover, Lions to win. And I told you guys last week, going into the Lions and Packers game, I had absolutely no read. I didn't know what to expect from the Lions. I didn't know what to expect from the Packers. And it was a bad spot for Detroit. And they got absolutely just smacked around. And that's the truth of it. And I think the Lions do enough to win this game, but I don't think it's going to be easy. After watching Caleb Williams struggle in the second half against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm sure people are ready to bet Detroit. Detroit is an absolute train in that Ford Dome. And when they get going, and they not only put the foot on your neck, they break the neck. And we've seen them cover gigantic spreads and go for the jugular. But I'm just going to go with a cautious Bears to cover. I think if the Bears can get some guys back in the secondary, it can help them prepare against Goff. But the main thing, the main ingredient to stopping Detroit is stopping their run game. But, guys, I got to be honest. I don't think this is the same Detroit offensive line we've seen the last 3 years. Is it top 10? Yes, it is, especially when it comes to run blocking and getting after people. But I'm not sure it's the elite offensive line we've grown accustomed to. I believe Detroit does enough to win. Detroit plays better defense. But the Bears do just enough to cover in this game, but Lions win. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Tennessee Titans. Titans plus 5.5. Money, money, money. Money. Titans winning the cover. Rams win the game. But I'm not necessarily sure about that. And the Rams were a cash cow for us last year. And I believe they will be again, just not early in the year. And now let's get into this. I have to make people cautious about this firstly. Out of all the head coaches last year, I felt like the worst head coach in terms of game management, preparation, was Brian Callahan. Did I see anything that made me feel better against the Broncos? No, especially in the red zone. But I think this Titans team is game and ready, and I think defensively they can put this Rams offense in awkward and make the Rams offense defensive. Hear me out. This Titans defense just played completely against game flow against the Broncos. Cam Ward and this Titans offense didn't run the ball well, and they didn't throw the ball well. And it kept leaving this Titans defense in bad position after bad position in one of the toughest places to go in this league, which is Mile High. But they were able to persevere. They were able to force turnovers. And I'm not the biggest Bo Nix believer in the world like you guys, but I was still impressed by the shift this Titans defense put in. And I think their defensive line can cause problems for a Rams offensive line I'm not really sold on. If this Rams offense, even dating back to last year when Stafford was full rhythm and full health, dating back to last year, if this Rams offensive line doesn't run the ball at a high level, the offense is out of rhythm, and methodical is the best word to describe it. Methodical at best. They play in a box. They don't push the ball downfield too much. And I'm not sure Matt Stafford's going to have the answers. He certainly didn't have the answers against the Houston Texans defense. Is the Tennessee Titans defense on the same level? No, but I do believe it's a good defense, and I do believe they can control that point of attack that can create issues for the Rams. Now, the reason why I don't have the Titans to win this game is Jared Verse, Fisk, and this Rams defense. And Cam Ward and that Titans offense looked a lot like they looked in preseason. Out of rhythm, not a lot passing. And we saw that Broncos defensive line absolutely kick the tails in of that Titans offensive line. But we did see some holes open up in the run game. If the Titans can do just enough in the run game and pass game, I believe they will win this game. I believe Cam Ward having this game at home in Nashville will help them keep it close. Titans lose by a field goal. Rams win it late. Give me the Titans plus 5.5. Make it a damn money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Get on Patreon. $7 a month. Listen, man, it costs $20 to go outside to breathe air in California. What are you doing? Come get this money with me. And let's get to the 49ers Saints game. I can't make a pick. We're seeing Jennings out. We're seeing C-Mac possibly banged up again. That gave everyone a scare. There's just lots of injuries with the 49ers. Kittle's going to miss the game. And honestly, man, we don't know if Purdy's going to play. So if Purdy plays, give me the 49ers minus 4.5 winning the cover. But this is one we need to revisit later in the week. Just more injuries, more problems for the 49ers. I thought this year would be different. Next game, we're going to the NFC East. We got the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Them boys. Giants +6. Giants to cover. Cowboys to win. Pure fundamentals. I looked like an idiot last week. I was yelling at you guys all off season. Don't fall for this Giants hype. Like, listen, I didn't necessarily fall for the hype, fellas. Like, I did put in a huge bet for the Giants under 5.5 wins, but that was more due to schedule. But when you have Russell Wilson, you have limitations. When you have Brian Daboll, you have limitations. When you have an offensive line that just can't seem to do anything right, you have limitations. And I should have kept that in my mind. That was one I felt bad about. But I do think the Giants' defensive line does enough to keep this close. Now, this Cowboys' young offensive line is getting better by the minute, and I believe they'll be game and up to this challenge. I really like the way Dak played against the Eagles. I felt like it was impressive, and I think that he'll get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and we'll see more George Pickens. But I do believe this Giants defense does enough to keep it close, and you do wonder. Jerry Jones is talking a lot about run defense. I wonder if the Giants can run the ball. I believe that keeps it close. Giants to cover the 6, Cowboys to win. I have very little science. Next game, we got the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins -1.5. I'm getting in my trench. I'm digging the trench. I'm joking. Don't do anything crazy here. Dolphins to win in the cover. I told you guys going in to last week, this Patriots roster is bottom 5 overall. No matter how much you love Vrabel and Drake May, which I love them a lot. And obviously, this isn't a game you should be betting. This game is something you can't predict because we don't know what Dolphins team we're going to see. I mean, we don't even know if they're going to show up to the stadium. They were so unprepared against the Colts. I just think sometimes in this league, we need to take a deep breath and understand blowouts happen, variants happen, and you can have a bad week and you can come back strong. I'll tell you what. The toughest home field advantage in this league is Miami Gardens, 1 o'clock in a September or October. I'm going to Dolphins. I don't have any science. I could look like an idiot again. Dolphins -1.5 winning the cover. Next game, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Browns +10.5. It was at 13.5, but now it's at 10.5. I got the Ravens to win in the cover. But I watched that full Ravens-Bengals game yesterday. The only game I didn't watch in full is the Packers-Lions. That's why I'm waiting for the Thursday night video. But I watched that Bengals-Browns game in full, and I felt like the Browns played pretty good. And you do think they can cause some problems for the Ravens. But listen, this Ravens offense is an absolute train. Ravens winning the cover. Those 2 interceptions were not Joe Flacco's fault. But I think the Browns offense is going to struggle in this game as well. I trust the Ravens to lay the 10.5. I believe they win by 14 to 17 points. I would not lay 13.5, but once it gets to 9.5, 10.5, definitely go with the Ravens. Ravens winning the cover. Next game! I'm excited for this one. We got the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. Broncos -2. Money, money, money. Money. Broncos winning the cover against the Colts. And listen, credit to Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen had a masterful game plan against the Dolphins. I mean, Tua barely touched the ball in the first half, and that's what you want to do. But I think this Broncos defensive line is just a fucking problem. And I don't think the game flow will completely go the Colts' favor like it did last Sunday. And this Broncos team played absolutely terrible against the Titans. Bo Nix was bad. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm not the biggest Bo Nix guy, but he put in a really poor performance. That's going to bounce back, especially against the Colts secondary that can be had. We never really got an opportunity last Sunday to see it in action. So it's still a big question mark. But even if you don't trust Bo Nix, even if you think this Colts defense is just magnificent, where this game is going to be decided is this Broncos defense against Daniel Jones. And I think this Broncos defense gets pressure early and often, and I just can't see the Broncos letting the Colts run the ball. If the Colts run the ball well, they're going to win this game, and they will win it if they run it well. I don't think it's going to happen. Not only are the Broncos great at rushing the passer, they're really underrated at stopping the run. Broncos stop the run. Broncos do just enough. Broncos win in the cover with the -2 in an ugly game, but it will be a Sean Payton game. Also, Sean Payton, we need to talk about some of your coaching in that game. Even to end the game, he could have just kicked a field goal to ice the game, but he didn't, and he gave the Titans the ball with a chance to win in great field position. Sean Payton was pretty bad, and I think he'll recover, and I think he's going to have blood in his eyes. Broncos -2. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs +1. It's been moving back and forth. Give me the Chiefs to win. I just can't see the Chiefs losing this game. And also something people need to remember, the Eagles are a team, even at their heights last year, they're a team that can get in and out of rhythm fast on offense, specifically when it comes to the pass game. And I'm not saying this is an Alamo situation for the Chiefs. I'm not. It's early in this season. I don't want to overreact to week one. If I'm not, well, I am overreacting to the Dolphins' performance, but I'm not overreacting to the Chiefs losing a game in Brazil. But can you imagine the Chiefs going 0-2? And the reason why there's more jeopardy with it right now is the AFC West is actually good for the first time in like fucking 5, 6, 7 years. So I don't think the Chiefs can afford to lose this game. And I think the Chiefs play better on offense than the Eagles. I actually like the Chiefs' run defense. I think if you have Chris Jones in that middle, he can be game and ready and help this Chiefs front seven swarm around Saquon Barkley. If the Chiefs take away Saquon Barkley, I can't see Jalen Hurts finding too much rhythm with a new offensive coordinator in a hostile situation in Arrowhead. I just think this game comes down to Pat Mahomes. And to be honest, that was the best I've seen Pat Mahomes in a regular season game in quite some time. Give me the Chiefs to win and cover at Arrowhead. Not a lot of science. You obviously don't want to do it. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals -6.5. Money, money, money. Money. Cardinals winning the cover, making a money pick. I feel confident about this. Going into the video, I wanted to make it a borderline money pick, but just looking at the fundamentals of this game, I can't see the Panthers making a game of it. And when I think about the Cardinals, when I think about them being at their best, I think about James Conner. I think about them being a run-first offense and easing Kyler into the game. Well, boy, they sure have the opponent for them. You have a Carolina Panthers defense that, outside of Derek Brown, this front seven's absolutely horrendous. I'm not even asking for a pass rusher. I'm just asking for guys to get in their run fits and be competitive. And I don't see that happening. On the other side, you look at the Cardinals and they finally added some talent on defense for John Gannon. But the weakness they have is their secondary. I feel like you can get at this secondary and attack them. But I'm not sure Bryce Young's capable of doing it. Also, I'm not sure he has the help in his receiving core to do it. Coker's injured, you trade away Thielen, and you're relying on people like Xavier Legette. It just is getting ugly in Carolina already, and I'm not sure Canales can push the right buttons. Sure, 6.5 is a lot, especially early in the year. The Cardinals are no juggernaut, but I think the Cardinals are going to be a good team. They certainly have a good coach, and John Gannon will have them ready. I'm laying the -6.5 with the Cardinals. Make it a damn money pick. Next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at my Minnesota Vikings. Falcons +5. I got the Falcons to cover, Vikings to win. I don't have a lot of science. I was really encouraged by a lot of the things I saw from the Falcons against the Bucs. But there's still questions with this Falcons defense. Can they rush the passer? I don't think so. And we saw McCarthy struggle with the pass rush in the first half against the Bears. I don't know if the Falcons can push those buttons. Secondly, can the Falcons cover anyone? Outside of Jesse Bates, is there anyone in the secondary you like, you trust, you can count on? And like I said, J.J. McCarthy had an up-and-down performance against the Bears on Monday Night Football. But at home, I believe he'll be better. He's certainly going to get some home cooking with the Falcons' defense. On the other side, like I said, I like what I saw out of Penix. I'm just not a big Zach Robinson guy. I think the Falcons stay in this game. I think the Falcons are able to put up points. But I don't think the Falcons will do more than that. Falcons cover, Vikings win the game. Not a ton of science on this one. Next game, we got the Tampa Bay Bucs at the Houston Texans. Bucs +2.5. I got the Texans to win in the cover. And I know you worry about this Texans offensive line. I know the Tampa Bay defensive line isn't great, and they don't have an elite pass rusher. But when I was watching the Texans-Rams game, I know Jared Verse, Fisk, Bryant, we know that Rams defensive line stacked. But I'm just talking about simple blitzes. The Rams would have 4 defensive linemen rushing, send 1 blitzer. Texans have 6 back there blocking. Yep, there's 1 free rusher directly up the gut for Stroud. And that's hard to work with. That's hard to quantify, no matter who your quarterback is, no matter what wide receivers you have. But I believe this Tampa Bay secondary is weak. I believe this will be a defensive football game, very, very ugly. And I am a little bit I'm a little bit cautious with the Bucs this year. You give Baker a new offensive coordinator, and if they can't run the ball well, that puts a lot of pressure on them. And I'm not sure this Bucs defense is as good as people think. Certainly their secondary is. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I see the Texans getting a victory by a field goal in this game. Texans winning the cover on the first game of Monday Night Football. Last game, second game of Monday Night Football, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders +3.5. I got the Raiders with the hook. Chargers to win the game. I think Geno will keep the Raiders in this game. I'm not sure Gente and this Raiders offensive line will be able to push around the Chargers. I'm also a little bit worried about the Raiders secondary. We saw Herbert have himself a day. Did it surprise me? Not really. I'm a big Herbert believer. There isn't a lot of science in this game. I just think the Raiders are able to keep it close with Geno Smith and Max Crosby, and that Raiders defensive line can cause some havoc on Herbert. Overall, though, Chargers win the game, Raiders cover. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. The best gambling show on the internet. Let's get this money. Glad to be back. Week 2.